it's Quincy Selawayne, better known to you guys as AKAnundrum, and you're here for another remarkable episode of the Drum Circle Show, where we get to hear from our unsung and often unheard heroes in the entrepreneurial world. So I have an amazing guest for you guys today, and as you know, I like to let this person let you know who they are and what they do. So with no further ado, I'll pass it on to you.
Hi, I'm Ada Crenshaw. I am the CEO of Ada Crenshaw LLC and Infinite Legacy Mobile Notary here in the Dallas, Texas area and worldwide.
Awesome. So wait, you said mobile notary. This is a business that has taken off and exploded, I know, here recently. So how long have you been in this industry? And what made you kind of like attracted to it?
Well, first, it was my first business that I launched when I got laid off in 2021. And so because I really deal in real estate on a personal aspect, it wasn't a far-fetched thing for me to do because I know loan documents, both commercial and residential. So actually, I had the conversation about mobile notary before I was laid off with a friend of mine, not knowing that it would actually come to fruition later on, months later. So I took a stab at it. I just said, okay, this is something that I want to do and something I'm just going to get into. And that's where it started.
Wow. And ironically, I've utilized notary services, of course, in the past, purchasing my home and, things of that nature. And during the pandemic, that was the first time that I ever used a mobile notary service. And she came out, she met me in the lobby, we were all masked up and everything. She had her seal and, signed the documents, and it was so quick and so super fast. And I was just like, wow. And she was like, hey, I'm in the area, and she's like, yeah, I'm running around and I'm booking services. And I was just like, wow, this is absolutely a key business right now, especially when we were stuck in a house, and you would think like, okay, wait a minute, you're coming to my house that doesn't work during COVID, but these were things that we needed, these documents. So being able to service people in that capacity was absolutely clutch in that. So my question too is like, now, when you started then during the pandemic, and I noticed you were new, but have you noticed a change in traffic? Like, have you seen more traffic or less traffic since the world is open?
Well, I would have to say, since the market on the real estate side, yes, it has slowed down because interest rates, the things that are happening with people losing their homes, or they can't refi, it make no sense to refi. So there are not a lot of those signings that are happening right now, but the general notaries such as wills, transfer of deeds of vehicles, and trust, I've seen that part pick up. So it's kind of like a twofold. When one goes, gets slow, you always have to have something that supplements that. And so with that, it's been a really good ride. Because not only do we provide mobile notary services in person, we also do it online. So that allows me to notarize a document in the United States, including the territories.
Okay.
And overseas.
So I've never heard of that before. Okay, so wait, so you can notarize online?
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to us how that works?
So what will happen is that I have a 2-layer encryption software that I use. And when a person books the services through our scheduling page, they'll get the set of directions on how to proceed. And when the day of the notarization comes, first, let me back up, they'll email me their documents. I'll go through them, make sure everything looks correct. If I have any questions, I'll let you know. The day of, I'll send you a link. You will have to verify yourself by using some sort of ID. Also, it will ask you random questions. It's, like when you go to your, to get a freeze on your credit, or sometimes
Right.
you have those security
Security
questions.
questions.
Yeah, I won't know what they are, but you'll have to answer them in order to verify yourself. Once you answer all the questions correctly, then you will be automatically let into the session. And so when you're in the session, I will ask for your ID. And I will also reiterate, do you have an idea of what you're signing? You're of sound mind and body. You're not being coerced. Once you answer those questions, then we get going. My software automatically puts in the spaces where you have to sign and date. So for me, it's seamless to do it. And in a matter of less than 30 minutes, you will have your document notarized. We as notaries have to upload our seal and a lot of information to make sure that when we're providing that electronic seal, that is legit and that is correct. So once I put my seal on it, right after the meeting, you'll get the notarized document.
Wow. I mean, that is absolutely that's awesome, right? Because it took this concept that was in person, and now that you can do it virtually, that has to have scale your opportunity, right, and your reachability, because now you're not just subject to one city or state or location. So when you notarize like that, you can service clients in every state, or
every state, including the territories. And if you're overseas, let's say you're a United States citizen and you're overseas, you can get this done. So it allows me to be able to connect with people and market my services for anywhere in the United States other than just Texas. And since we're talking about international, we also provide apostille services. So basically that just helps people who are transporting documents between the United States and another country. And so we help facilitate that process. So instead of you having to call your state Secretary of State, we do that for you. We will process it for you, get all the stuff done, and we will also ship the documents via FedEx to whatever country that you need the document sent to.
That's absolutely awesome. That's absolutely incredible. So with that being said, and I know that you talked about exiting the real estate, right, portion of your career, not exiting, but really kind of pivoting a little bit more with the focus on the notary aspect, which I think a lot of people looking at the housing market right now, most agents are finding themselves, kind of oh, okay, it may be time to take on something else right now, given the conditions of the market. For you in notary, what has been the challenge getting into this industry for you? What's been the biggest challenges that you've been facing?
Well, let me clarify one thing.
Okay.
The aspect of real estate investing, that's what I did personally, but I worked for 21 years in the aerospace and defense industry in engineering and project management. So the real estate part of my life was done privately, just doing it on my own. And it wasn't that so far-fetched for me to do it, because in my corporate job, I had to learn military standards, military documents, templates. I had to know the processes, the contracts, when laws change, when the military decided to change things, and I had to notify 12 programs that I supported as one person. Wow. So with that, and holding a top secret clearance for 21 years, I know how to handle sensitive documents, such as real estate documents, because a lot of your information is in there. So if the government trusted me for 21 years with the FBI background check, and they still do because they can, yeah, I don't play around with that. So when I have a person's documents in my hand, I don't hold on to them. You give it to me, we finish, I'm going to the nearest FedEx near your house, drop it off, email you the receipt so you have the tracking information, and let you know that the documents are out of my hand, because it's embedded in me. Is when you have a particular type of document in your hand, you can't let it out your sight. You don't want to take any chances. So that's how I treat my businesses, both of them. And one thing I found getting into the notary industry, one thing that independent notaries will face are larger notary companies that are able to offer services at very, very low prices. And that's one of the hurdles. I wouldn't say it was the hurdle, but that's one of your biggest competitions are those big companies. And knowing that and understanding how the notary process works and the industry works, I kind of felt like, okay, but you could go cheap or you could get it done right. You're going to pay for quality versus quantity. So I kept that mindset. It's like, okay, you can, but the difference is with an independent notary is that you're going to get the same person, which is me right now. You're going to get the same person every time you call. You're going to get me. You're not going to get some random person that's going to show up at your house or may not show up. That's been a major problem with some of these companies, with real estate agents, if you can believe, notaries not showing up.
Wow.
And so I really honed that in when I advertise my services, that we show up on time. I show up 10 to 15 minutes early. If I'm 15 minutes early, I'll wait outside of my car for a little bit and I knock on your door 10 minutes early. And I like to make sure, that
that you're there. So you just emphasized the point that I think a lot of entrepreneurs face in terms of competition when you spoke about, okay, one of the things that you're going to face is larger corporations. And I think that particularly in areas of finance and legalities, that is going to be a significant hurdle for independent businesses, because when we're dealing with money and contracts, trust is essential. And so this provides what I noticed is you said, hey, there are larger companies. You know them, you may know their brand name. But what she did was position herself as an authority in this space, not necessarily the space of notary to say, hey, I've been in the notary industry for so many years, but what she's leaning into is her years as a trusted service member who has handled highly sensitive and classified documents for decades. So if you find yourself also feeling as if, okay, I'm a small independent person, how can I establish trust? Sometimes you may not have those years of trust in that particular industry, but your expertise, your experience, or your education in a peripheral background may be able to be utilized to gain that trust. Because for me personally, if I went to her website and she made sure right out the gate that she let me know, I've been a service member for this many years with a top secret clearance, I know how to handle documents, I would then feel trust and relief and believe in her ability to make sure that my documents were handled correctly. So if you don't have the expertise in that industry, lean into the other areas, education and experience that you have, and establish yourself as an authority in order to gain trust, especially in areas of medical, legal, and finance. So if that was a jewel dropped on you, you can drop some coins on us. So yeah, I love that. I love how you positioned yourself and you said, wait, I have to make sure that I let them know. And it's so important for anybody listening, communicate that on your website right out the gate, right? Right out the gate, let people know that about you so that they can feel that they can trust your business. So I think that that's an awesome segue into what I kind of like to discuss as well is with all of these hurdles, because I do know saturation, like I said, I've seen everyone offering these notary services, right? I think that may be some of the obstacles. Not saying that that's something that you want to touch on, but what other spaces have you found yourself in saying, okay, I got to look at this, I got to look at this, I got to look at this, and how can I turn this into something good for me? Or you've been able to take that sort of a challenge and create an opportunity or create a solution sometimes, out of some of those problems?
Well, I honestly have to say, when I got into it, I knew it was saturated even before I got into it. So I had to think to myself, it's like, okay, one thing I thought to myself, okay, how can I differentiate myself? And it's like, okay, I've worked for Boeing, I've worked for Raytheon, I've worked for Northrop Grumman, I've worked for a lot of big name aerospace companies. And it's like, if you looked at my LinkedIn page, you see what I bring to the table. So I was like, okay, doing market research, it's like, nobody has what I have, one. So I was like, okay, that gives me a little leg up too, because I've dealt with real estate transactions for a long time. Okay, bet, that's a good thing. I didn't want to just offer notary services because then that would make me a part of the saturation. So I said, okay, let me do apostille work. I'm a licensed wedding officiant. And that in a process server. So I was like, okay, these are some good things I can add on to the business. And the thing with how God works is that I got myself situated in that business. And then literally about 7 months ago, I started my second business, actually rebranded it and started it again. And this time it was totally different than the notary business. Now I'm in small business advising. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this notary thing. It's good. Okay, I can parlay that into the small business advising as one of the services. Yes. So I'm cross advertising my services. And it just, to me, when I felt like, okay, God, I'm feeling kind of mundane right now. I want another challenge. I think I can do this now. And it was no doubt in my mind. I was like, okay, I need to rebrand what I started. And I need to go and do this full time, because Ada Crenshaw LLC was birthed out of all the mistakes that I did. And I started in 2017 working full time until now. And I said to myself, I don't want nobody to go through all the stuff that I went through, because those mistakes were costly at times and some of them not so costly. But I was like, I don't want anybody to go through this. And I want to educate people. And that's what I do in both businesses. If someone doesn't understand the documents, I'm able to say, this document is for this. This is why you're signing it. This is what's going to happen afterwards. Because I know the process, so I can tell them, okay, after you sign these documents, title is going to get them. After title, then you're going to have the recording, then the money's going to be transferred, should be transferred within 24 to 48 hours, depending on the bank situation. And then boom, boom, boom. That way they'll kind of like, okay, yeah. But some people are like, yeah, I already know the documents. I've done this 10, 15 times. Just tell me where to sign. Ooh, okay. Those are my favorite, because it's like, you're in and out. So I would say, while you're building a business, you can birth another one, or you can restart that dream, because that's what I did. Because I don't like having one source of income. I like having multiple.
Well, thank you so much for that. And what you just also provided was another opportunity for me to drop a gem. guys notice, Ada said, first of all, fundamentally, I solve problems that already existed for myself. For most entrepreneurs, that's typically how we start our very first ventures. It's usually a problem that we have, we fix, and then we're able to now provide that solution for other people. And as most of you guys know, one of my favorite sayings is, it's not more money, more problems. It's more problems, more money. Because the problems offer you an opportunity to provide a solution. And that, of course, offers you an opportunity to generate an income. Speaking of which, she spoke about multiple incomes. And we've all heard this where people say, oh, most millionaires have 7 streams of income. And I get a lot of entrepreneurs who are seeking these 7 streams of income, but they're typically random things that are disjointed and have nothing to do with each other. And so I encourage them to understand, when you're thinking about these additional revenue streams, the easiest way to do that is to create a business that's complementary to your existing business. That way you can share the audience and the resources, right? One of my favorite analogies that we hear all the time is, my business is my baby. Well, I tell people, do you think it would be easier to have 7 kids all at one time of all different sexes? Of course not, right? That's going to be overwhelming. But it's much easier when you have a baby and then have another baby right after who's the same gender. Why? Because you can pass down the clothes. You don't have to purchase all new things all over again. Well, look at your business the same way. Since she was already in the notary business, she had a lot of services that could be utilized by small business owners. So this was complementary to the new business venture. So when you're thinking about scaling or even starting another arm, or maybe a product line or something like that, it's much easier if you have something that complements your existing business. That way you don't have to go out and target to a whole entire new audience. And sometimes it's not necessarily a new audience. It can just move from something like B2C to B2B, but be the same product or the same sort of a service. So I hope that helps when you're thinking about starting a new business, gaining new incomes. And if I drop the gem, you can drop some coins. And back to the interview. So thank you so much for that, because like I said, that really gives a lot of people clarity, I think, on how do I get these multiple income streams, right? And they're trying to do stuff like, I'm going to go drop ship. Now I'm going to go Airbnb. Now I'm going to go start Turo. Now I'm going to go start notary. And it's like, these things are so disjointed, you're going to find yourself spread super, super thin. So I think that what you did is just so much easier, right? For you to even just segue naturally into those other businesses. Speaking of which, what else do you have going on now that you would like to let the audience know about?
So I have Ada Crenshaw LLC, and we are basically a one-stop shop for small business owners to grow, scale, and leave a true legacy. I have a team of experts on my team ranging from website design, intellectual property, social media management, business consulting. I have accounting person, a profit strategist on my team, financial advisors, business formation. And so we want to be that, just to name a few, but we want to provide that one-stop shop for business owners, because doing research, I've noticed that I read an article that above 80% of small businesses fail within the first 5 years. So our problem that we're trying to solve is when we want to educate these startups. We want to educate business owners, no matter whether you're a pre-seed startup or I've been in business 5 or 10, 15 years. We can help you, because there's always something that you need to know or learn in your business. Every package is customized for every client, so we don't have cookie cutter packages. It's not one size fits all. And most services that we offer comes with the business plan, because business plans are very essential when you're trying to go out for funding, when you're trying to do and scale your business, and it provides a roadmap for you. So we want to be that company that helps you leave a true legacy and know and build that solid foundation, so that you'll know, okay, I can do this. I have the funds to do this. Because one of the first questions I will ask any client is, do you have a personal budget? And do you have a business budget? How are you going to fund this project that you want us to do? A lot of times I don't have a budget. Well, what's the budget? What kind of, okay, well, you know what? I have a certified financial advisor on my team that can get you together. And if it turns out that you really can't afford it right now, you know what to do to get to that place to do it. And so I want to not only educate, but I want to help people, because there's so much misinformation out there that I'm seeing. And I don't want people to think, oh, all you need is an EIN, a business name, and, a business account. No, you need more than that. You need 5 bank accounts when you set your business up, not just one. You need 5, because you have to know what your profit, what your income, what the owners pay. You need a taxes account, a savings account. You need these things, not just one bank account. So those are some of the things that I tell my clients, because nobody is telling the real story. They just say, oh, just get started. That's all you need. Oh, no, you need more.
Yeah, it definitely. And one of the things that you just spoke about is, I think, one of the most rampant issues that sole proprietorships and single owner operator businesses face, and definitely startups, and that is commingling of funds, right? And that is where we're working out of like one account, and you're utilizing personal services out of that business. That's like a tax nightmare for most people. And so I think that what you just said is like separating those things out. And I love the way that you have them titled for purpose. Like, okay, have somewhere where your taxes go, have someone where your payout, for the owner operator expenses or whatever is taking place, have someone where the profit and everything is coming into. It's kind of like back in the day, where your grandma had you take like 4 or 5 envelopes, right? And she had the rent and the bill. She had all these different little envelopes. That's what she made those savings, right? So it goes back to that same principle of thought to help us to separate those things out. Because I know me personally, I am not the best person at itemizing things. Thank God, Uber does some, like, is this a business or is this a personal travel? Things, some of the apps are kind of helping us. But I think actually like delegating those funds out, I think that's an awesome tip, a jewel that you just dropped, and even an insight, or just to get people kind of thinking of how to better manage those funds so they're not as co-mingled, right, together. Right. I also love that you're providing what I've also found is a key issue, and that is a done for you service when it comes to these pillars of business. So for most people who don't know what this podcast and radio show, or whatever you want to call it, is named after, is the Drum Circle Show. And that is for the Drum Circle program that I created. And the Drum Circle program is offering solutions much like what you're doing. And I'm so excited about that, where I've done consultation for a long time, years, I could countless. And we give this advice and we give these directions. And then when you do the follow-up, you notice that it hasn't been done. And so for the longest, I tried to make sure that I provided solutions that were simple, easy to do. Yes. And then they're still not done. And what I realized is that at the end of the day, there's so many aspects of business that it becomes overwhelming when you are a single solopreneur and you're trying to do this all on your own, even with a partner, because those things that you just spoke about, the finances, the marketing, right? The funding, like all of these different things, the legal aspects. So I identified the 4 pillars of business that I feel like everyone needs. The first pillar is admin systems operations. That's the foundation to your business, right? So you take this idea from ideation to actual structure, okay? Then from there, once you establish that, you go on to the next pillar that I identified, branding, marketing, graphics. You have to communicate this business, right? You have to tell the world that you exist. And then you go on to the next pillar, which I have is customer care, consumer psychology, and PR. So now, once you have created your business, told the world about it and gained customers, they need to be handled, right? They need to be handled
Right.
correctly. So now that's the service-based part. And when things go wrong, you need that customer care team there to take care of them. And then it's the last pillar, finance, law, and tech. Right. So making sure that your financials are together, your legal structure is together, and now cybersecurity, making sure that you are in compliance with your websites and everything, and you're following the laws and protecting the consumer's sensitive data and information. So to see that you're actually doing the same thing when you join Drum Circle, all those things are done for you. Right. So it's an 8-week mentorship program in which I have created. And I love that you're doing the same thing. I can only deal with 8 people every 8 weeks. So I can't touch that many people. So I'm encouraging people, if you're listening and you're thinking about what can I do, this is an awesome opportunity. Even if you don't cater to all 4 pillars like she's doing and like I'm doing, if you just say, hey, we'll take care of your compliance. We'll take care of your structure, your systems. We'll take care of your brand and marketing. We'll do these things. It's so much better than sending the person off with a set of instructions and they're not able to execute because they don't have the time, the skill, and the knowledge. So I think what you're doing is absolutely tremendous, and I love it. Love it.
I love what I do. And I get to say that I'm actually working my passion. And because of that, I want people to know when you come to work with us, you're going to have some skin in the game. You're going to be doing some work. If you want a website done, it's not like, oh yeah, I just want a website done. No, what is your mission? What is your target audience? What are you trying to do? You have to give us information, but you have to know it. And one thing that I stress to my clients is like, look, one of the things you need your business life insurance and you need personal life insurance. Your business life insurance is going to take care of your business when the good Lord calls you home. And you want to leave that legacy to somebody, but your business life insurance plan can help that person you're leaving it behind and gives them the capital to go out and find another CEO or find another director, or somebody to keep the business going. Your personal life insurance, that's for your personal affairs, paying your house off if you have to, paying for your funeral. Those are the things that we, as a pillar, you need that. You need a will. You need to start working on a trust. You have to have a lot of these things in place. And if it takes you 6 months or a year or 18 months, you're starting off ahead of the game than a lot of people who are in business for themselves. But I tell people, we help you do the unsexy part of business so you could do the sexy part. And that's being the base of your business, getting new business. We help you with all that, your processes, procedures, because we want you to start off on the right foot. And I never try to turn away anyone, but I want them to understand it's like, I don't want you feeling in the middle of this or at the end that you're strapped for cash. You need to know how you're going to fund the rest of this because you're going to have to keep going, and I want people to feel like, okay, do I identify with her? It's like, yeah, you could identify with me because I lost my job, but I had savings. I had money set aside. I did things that financial advisors wouldn't tell you to. But because I'm Aquarius and I've always marched to the beat of my own drum, I took a chance on myself. I was like, okay, I'm gonna cash some money out of my retirement. I had a budget. I set a budget. I made a list of everything that I had to spend money on and gave myself a cushion. I gave myself a budget for my personal life. This is what you're going to live on for the next 2-3 years until this business comes. The rest of that, you're not going to touch. And for me, I took a chance on myself and now I'm on the way to paying myself back. So yeah, I did go against the grain because a lot of business loans, commercial loans, you got to be in business 5 years. They want to see you have skin in the game. I didn't have that. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna fund myself. Now I don't have to worry about people not giving me a loan because I'm Black, or not giving me a loan because I haven't been in business for 5 years or more. By the time I get ready to go, then I can probably get a loan or a grant if I need it. So I want people to know that you can do it. It's just a matter of how you want to do it. I did talk with my CPA. Don't get me wrong. I talked with my CPA before I did this. He knows me. He knew I was going to do it anyway, or I had already done it by the time I talked to him. But I knew those things, and I asked pertinent questions. So I want people, don't underestimate yourself. Always bet on you, because corporate's not betting on you. They just betting on themselves.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for that. So where can they find you and locate you? Of course, your name and everything is there, but for anybody who's listening audibly, let them know how they can find you and utilize your businesses.
Well, you can find me on Instagram. My personal brand is Ada Crenshaw. You can find Ada Crenshaw LLC on Instagram, and Infinite Legacy Notary on Instagram. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn, and that's Ada Crenshaw.
And now they can find you in the Black Virtual Mall. Yes, that is right. You will be placed on a new floor that we're building for our new revamp, and that is the drum circle floor. And so now you will have your own booth on the drum circle floor in the Black Virtual Mall, which when they visit your booth, they'll be able to see all of your promotional opportunities. And as I explain as always, it links back to you. So when they click any link onto your booth, it links back to your website. That's right. We don't commingle when it comes to your traffic nor your finances. So all sales and everything takes place on your site. We're just an entry point, right? So we just kind of get the traffic and direct them right to you. So all sales and everything happens on your site, and you get all of the data from that traffic. So unlike a lot of other merchant sort of platforms, instead of people going there and just remembering, they'll remember Ada Crenshaw, because that's where that business is going to take place, and that's where that transaction is going to end. So yes, you will also be featured now on our brand new floor in the Black Virtual Mall. Yes, you even know, you guys. So yes. So I'll be sending you all the details for that too at the exit part of the interview. So I thank you so much for sharing all of the wealth of information, for inspiring, for encouraging, and letting the viewers get a background scene of like what all is involved here. This is a lot, but you don't have to be overwhelmed, because Ada's actually created a business that takes care of it for you, so that you can focus on your business, your passion, and doing what you love. So I can't wait for you guys to join me on the next episode of the Drum Circle Show. And as always, it's been absolutely wonderful and amazing. And thank you so very much. Hey, it's AKAnundrum, better known to you guys. Nope, that's wrong. I fuck up this every single time. All right. Back to one, cut. All right.